Alright, this is a very impromptu video, so I apologize for the lack of clothing here, but I had to get this off my chest. Sometimes you have to look at yourself and think, I am being a fucking idiot, and if I don't change, then I will never change. If I keep floating, if I keep drifting and fooling myself into thinking that, one day, everything's gonna align, it's gonna happen for me, I can just feel it, I know I'm special, I know my time is coming, it's an energetic manifest. Shut the fuck up. No, it's not. You are fooling yourself into thinking that one day something or someone is gonna save you and you're gonna have this spiritual awakening and just end up rich. That's not gonna happen. You can't think that it's just gonna magically turn around. You can't think that your problems are gonna magically heal themselves, because they're not. And you're gonna drift forever. You're gonna fool yourself and float and think that one day it's gonna change, and it's never gonna change, because you're not gonna create a catalyst for change. And in this video, that's what I wanna talk about. So if you wanna change anything about your life, you have to create like 3 kind of catalysts. And I'm gonna articulate this with an analogy that I realized I was being a fucking idiot recently. About a month ago, my back really tightened up. I feel like an old man. And I would start to get severe kind of back spasms where for 15 minutes, I'd just be laying on the floor in a fetal position. Felt like somebody was stabbing me in my back. It was a horrible pain. And I went to this PT, this physical therapist, or I had him come to my crib, and he gave me a bunch of exercises. I felt a bit better, and I was like, okay, I'll do these exercises here and there, but I think this problem will kind of fix itself as long as I rest for a little bit. If I just take some time off from boxing and other physical activity, I'll be fine pretty soon. And it's about a month after that initial kind of occurrence and the initial pain, and I'm no better. And the other day I was thinking about this and I was like, wow, I'm an idiot. Why did I think it was any different? It's the same way you get rich, the same way you fix your money problem is the same way you fix any other problem in life. So instead of just continually fooling myself into thinking that eventually it'll just magically get better, I started to take action. I ordered this $500 massage table on Amazon, not because I needed it, but because I wanted an environmental trigger. I wanted to spend money. I didn't have to order the most expensive one I could find, but I did, because I wanted to put a little bit of pressure on myself to spend money and then also have a physical massage table in my bedroom that I have to look at every day that'll remind me to do the stretches and the exercises that this PT gave me. So this is my attempt to actually do it. I need to spend money so I feel pressure. I need to give myself an environmental reminder so that every time I go in my bedroom and I see this table, I'm reminded hey, do your fucking stretches. And then third, I need to make it convenient, because I know myself, if it's gonna be difficult for me to do it, if I even had to walk 5 minutes down the street to go to a gym and do the stretches there, I wouldn't do it. So it works the same way in business. It works the same way if you're trying to get out of any position right now, get out of any situation. You have to force yourself to raise your standards, and you have to make it easier on yourself to do so. It's not just gonna magically happen overnight. You're not gonna manifest your way to it. If you don't create a new environment where change can occur, then it'll never occur. So right before I dropped out of college, I started to do this. I would write on sticky notes affirmations and my goals for the month. So on sticky notes by my desk, I would have, Ben made $10,000 this month. Ben dropped out of college. Ben blah, blah, blah. And then in my bathroom, every time I walked into my bathroom, on the mirror, I had a sticky note that said, you are who you think you are. Just trying to remind myself that I'm malleable, that I can change if I want to change. And I spent what was almost my last bit of money on a coaching program. And you might be a hater of coaching programs. If you are, welcome to the worst fucking channel in the world for you to watch. And finally, I had a ritual that helped me kind of enjoy the work. At the time, I was trying to build a marketing agency, and the biggest thing that I had to do was send constant outbound. And I hated doing outreach. It just absolutely sucks. But I created a ritual around it where I'd light a candle, I'd put on some music, I'd make this little yogurt granola bowl that made me actually look forward to working and to doing this task. And when I combined these 3 elements, having the reminders of the sticky notes all over my room, plus investing in myself, and now feeling this financial pressure, this financial commitment. I just spent almost my last money on myself. If I don't do anything, I'm now being irresponsible with my money. Like, the best thing that you get by investing in coaching is you're now forcing yourself to take action. Like, if you want to see what you're made of, if you want to see if you actually want to do it, go spend an uncomfortable amount of money on any coaching program and then see if you're motivated. If you're not, at least you figured out that you were born to work at fucking Wendy's. And so when I look back on this exact period of my life where it was about 4 or 5 years ago, I'm just like trying to make money online. I see all these people on social media and I'm like trying to convince myself that it can be real, that it is gonna happen for me. This was my like biggest crossroads point where I would have taken two very different paths. Obviously, at other points in my life, I've had similar kind of like, okay, I need to change this, but this one was the biggest. This was like, all right, you're either gonna continue on this college path and you're gonna live this kind of very average, normal life, or you're gonna take your own route and be where you are now. I'm making this video in a Miami penthouse. I have my dream car. I have 7 figures liquid. Like, I have my dream life. And I'm not telling you this to brag, but truly I can look back at that point in my life and just understand how foundational it was. And if I didn't have those 3 kind of triggers, I don't know if I ever would have actually taken this route. So I'm making this video for you if you're kind of comfortable right now. I never really had to go get it. I never really had to be the person that I am today, but I knew that I would be miserable if I didn't. And I was tired of setting a goal and then watching 6 months go by, and on paper, I was no closer to that goal. I'd kind of pretended to take action. I pretended like, oh, I'm learning new things, and oh, I sent a couple outbound messages, but I really hadn't done shit. And then once I actually committed, once I did those 3 things, I started to move the needle. So if you continue to let yourself be comfortable, nothing will actually change. And if you really want to scare yourself into it, imagine what life would be like at 60 and you never really try. You're in this path right now and you keep telling yourself you're gonna get out of it, but what if you don't? What if nothing actually changes and you do kind of just succumb to the comfort that you're succumbing to right now? What if that continues to win? Picture vividly how you will feel throughout your adult life, and by the time you get to your deathbed, how will you feel if you never actually try? If you can sit with that feeling, and hopefully that negative visualization will at least give you some pressure here. And when you combine that with the positive things, like, I am not gonna lie to you, it's fucking awesome to have the time freedom and the location freedom and be able to drive whatever car I want and live where I live and do what I do. Like, it's a sick life. So when you combine this negative pressure plus the positive potential, that should give you enough motivation to at least try. And the last thing I'll leave you with here, and probably the most important, is this. I had a mentor of mine, Jeremy Haynes, who you might have seen on YouTube. He recently kind of called me out because he saw that I'd been stagnant at a certain income number for a while. And he was like, Ben, you're sold on the current reasons to stay where you're at. I had completed the majority of my initial immediate goals and life was pretty good. So based on the level of income I was at, I really didn't have much reason to push past that. I completed the vision. And Jeremy made me send him a list of a bunch of reasons why I would want the income to grow. So what would I actually do with more money? How would my life look? So on this list, I had a mix of kind of superficial material things that I wanted, plus personal desire, like I want to get to this level so that I can feel this way, and then also kind of long-term goals. So by the time I'm 35, I want to have X amount of money. And just by writing down these things and getting clarity on how my life could actually change and would change at a different level of income, that kind of lit a fire under me. And I was like, oh, like life can get better than how it is now. And the reason that I had been stagnant was because I didn't really have a clear picture that more money would objectively make my life better. And you might be thinking, oh, that's materialistic, or more money isn't gonna help you, it's not gonna solve every problem, and you're right, But also there is this peace that comes with progress. If you're not moving forward, if you're stagnant, if you're just kind of maintaining, you feel like everything could kind of burn down at any point, and you feel worse about yourself because you're not just continually moving forward. Like if you've ever been kind of obsessed with any mission in your life, you know you feel the best when you're waking up every day with some kind of intention and you have obstacles that are in the way of getting there, and you feel good about yourself when you get there. So if you're watching this and any of it resonated, take out a piece of paper or open a notes app in your phone, write it down somewhere, like, why do I want to make more money? What will my life look like? And you can be pretty ambitious with this. This isn't the time to think small. Don't be conservative. Think like, okay, if I'm making a few $1,000,000 a year, $1 million bucks, like what will my life look like? And get a clear picture on that. You can write down a handful of things. And on the flip side, why don't we also do the negative? Why don't we also think, okay, if this doesn't change, what will my life look by the time I'm 50 or the time I'm 75? Write that down. And once you have those two lists, put them somewhere where you're gonna see them regularly, like I was telling you about, the 3 elements of change. Make it easy on yourself, make it convenient, invest in yourself. And if you do that consistently and you take consistent action, eventually your life's gonna look a lot different than it does right now. And you're not gonna go through these 6-month cycles where you look yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh, I did nothing for the last 6 months. I just fooled myself into thinking I was gonna be productive. It's the worst cycle in the world to be in, and it can either continue for the rest of your life or it can change right now if you want it to. Anyway, thanks for watching. Go to the description if you want to work with me directly. Like, subscribe, comment, share with your grandma. See you in the next one. Goodbye.